Hey, cuz.
What's going on?
Do you know who the number 2 podcast is in the nation?
We are.
No, we're not. And to be honest with you, I don't know who is. But if you want to help us get there, you can start by supporting the show by going to campfirepod.com/merch and picking up a t-shirt.
I agree, cuz we need to do that.
God, we're so bad at this. You know what? If you want to help us get better, just go buy a shirt. Campfirepod.com/merch. That's campfirepod.com/merch. Pick up a t-shirt. It'll take you to Amazon. Anything else you buy there, we might make a small commission at no extra charge to you. It's a great way to support the show, and maybe we'll get better at this.
I think we will one day.
Stop talking over the intro!
Hi, I'm Lourdes.
And I'm Eric, but you can call me Tello. This show is a family-oriented show, but it's oriented from the adult perspective. We talk about adult situations, and very often we use adult language. So if there's any kids in the room, kick their asses out. They don't belong here right now. Unless they want to learn something about life.
Right, this may not be suitable for children. And I'd like to add, I don't want to make anybody mad, and I love my family and friends.
I do too. All right, cuz. How's it going?
It's gone fantastic. You know, old age, there comes body aches, stomach aches, hair loss,
You leave my hair loss out of this.
No, hair growth in all the wrong places.
Oh my goodness.
That's like that song, Looking for Love in All the Wrong Places.
I mean to tell
hair
you.
Hair grows in all the wrong places.
I know what you mean. I have a hairy chest with an ass and a back to match.
Well, what about this one-off hair that comes out on the side of my chin? Like,
you think that's something? Look at this one-off hair right here. That's turned into several one-off gray hairs.
Why are we so hairy?
Well, we are mammals. And
well, but there's other mammals that aren't as hairy as we are.
Name one.
I mean, I can't. Because, I mean, there's other
if you're going to make that statement, you need to back it up.
Well, there are other people that are our same ethnicity or race, and they're not hairy like us.
They're our same what?
Ethnic race. I mean, ethnicity.
That's it. Ethnicity.
Yeah.
Stop. Wasn't that a song by Phil Collins? Oh no, that was Studio. Ethnicity.
I used to hate that word when I was in a former career.
Where you had to deal with ethnicities?
Yeah. I'd have to read out a disclosure and have people sign. And I was like, oh, I hate getting to that word. Sometimes I'd just leave it off. It's one of those tongue twisters.
Well, and not for me, but I have my own, like, sometimes when I say the word processes, I'll put an extra syllable in there because it sounds like I'm leaving one out. Like, sometimes I'll say, hey, make sure you do all the proper processes.
Oh, that's ridiculous.
And then I'll think to myself, okay, the root word is process. So there should just be one more, processes. But then it doesn't sound right. It's like processes.
So since we've been recording the show, and I listened to it
from a few minutes ago.
No, like since.
By the way, before you say that, what episode is this? 48.
Yeah, so 47 episodes ago, I've realized that when I speak, I'm like, sometimes there are words that I emphasize on. Like have you noticed that?
I don't listen to when you speak. I just fast forward to the parts where I'm speaking. And then I go to the end and check the credits to make sure my name is spelled right.
Or when, like if I'm telling a story or something, like I stop and almost like I stop to get it out. I need you to pay attention to that next time. Sorry,
Why?
listeners.
That's just the way you talk.
I know,
I listen
it's
to me
weird.
talk and I just think I shouldn't be on a podcast because I can't speak very well. I can't speak very clearly. And sometimes my words jumble together. Like right now, I'm paying attention to it. But I guarantee you, at some point throughout this, I'm going to become Mr. Mumbles. And my words... What's so funny?
Mr. Mumbles.
That's Mr. Yeah, you're right. You already called me that. You know what? Maybe I'll go to medical school and I'll be like, that's Dr. Mumbles to you.
That's probably not a good idea, because that's not where your heart is. That's not where your heart is.
To be Dr. Mumbles?
I don't think so.
Well, anyway, right now I'm Mr. Mumbles. No medical degree, no PhD, no MBA. I know that's not a medical degree, but I do
it sounded good.
I do have a BS in BS.
I'm trying to get at least a BS. And
you're full of BS.
I know, and I'm thinking of that now. People ask me, okay.
People ask you?
Yes, they ask me.
Yes.
Look, stop
it.
People have asked me, like, oh, what are you going to school for? And so originally I'd say,
like, for a better life. That's what I'm going to school for.
That's really what my response should be. I need to probably use that.
For a better life filled with debt.
Yeah. So they ask what I'm going for, and originally I would say accounting. And they're like, oh, yeah, you can make lots of money. You're going to have to be a CPA, though, to really get anywhere.
You can make lots of money counting other people's money. That's way more than what you're making.
Yeah. And then I'm like, but that's really not where my heart is. I want to go into psychology. So I've been saying that. So you're going
to be Dr. Mumbles.
Yeah. So I've been telling people that because that's what I want to do. And anyway. So I was talking to this guy and he was like, so what are you going to be doing when you finish school? I was like, well, I'm going to, for psychology. Well, what are you going to do with that? I'm like, what do psychologists do?
You should have said, yeah, that's good. Yeah, ask him questions. That's right.
I'm like, I'm going to sit there and listen to people.
No, don't tell him what you're going to do. Say, what do you think I'm going to do with that? And then when he answers that, saying, how does that make you feel?
That's funny.
And then when he answers that, say, tell me about your mother.
He already has. And then when he answers that,
be like, I got that beat.
No.
I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. Aunt Mary, I know you're not listening, but I'm kidding.
Do you leave my dear mother out of this?
Your dear mother, yes. She had a hoof infection, I think. She's trying to get it all taken care of.
Oh, goodness.
Maybe it was just some mud stuck in there.
So what's been going on with you, cuz?
I don't know. Every time I switch the camera back, well, right now it's not too bad, but I hung up some burlap in front of the window because it was still blowing out, but it's still blowing out. I'm too bright.
I know when we're doing this podcast, just to give all of our audience and listeners, all of our listeners, an image of what's happening to you. You look like an angel from the sky coming down. You're so bright. Stop.
That's my theme song.
That's
I'm
hilarious,
Mr. Mumbles,
actually.
the angel. The burlap angel. No,
yeah.
we were talking about it before the show, and you explained to me, well, burlap's not going to do much because it's full of holes. And I know that, but I thought it might be enough just to cast a little bit of shade on me so that it by the way, if you want to see this video, you can go to youtube.com/campfyre. That's CAMPFYRE. And hopefully this video records correctly, because the last one, there was some technical difficulties that were out of our hands and the video just doesn't exist. So apologies for that. Who's calling you?
I just received a notification from my Google that we're about to record. Or maybe that it's about to end. We just started.
Yeah. Somebody doesn't know how to keep a schedule.
I do, but when Mother Nature calls, when duty calls, you just got to do what you got to do.
You got that Call of Duty?
Yes.
I get that.
So,
yeah, speaking of duty, how's that bathroom going?
'Cause I am so excited. It looks so nice. We are about what, 90, 8%.
Is there a door on the bathroom now?
Yes.
Okay, so you can go in there and do it in private.
Yes.
So your mother-in-law doesn't have to worry about you walking in while she's taking a shit.
No. Because
No,
mother-in-law
she does have to worry, or no, she doesn't have to worry.
Mother-in-law doesn't have to worry. I have to worry because mother-in-law does not close the bathroom doors. Like you walk in, you can see like 78-year-old hip and chonies down side view. That can be pretty disturbing.
That's disgusting. Send me photos.
No, but speaking of mother-in-law, before the shower works, they fixed whatever was going on with that. But Luis still has to do some final, I guess like sealant, or he has to put something on the tile before they actually use it.
He has to seal the grout between the tile?
I think so.
Or maybe does have to seal the tile. I don't know. I've only done this work for Mom, so I'm not qualified to answer any of these questions.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just like rubbing the stuff on it. It's like really simple. It's just like getting a little sponge and just
Luis has to
rubbing
rub the stuff on the tile. I got you.
Yeah. So they can't use that shower. So the other day, Isabel had made a comment along the lines of just making sure that my mother-in-law, that my mother-in-law knew that she could use my shower stall to take showers while I was home. We wanted her to feel comfortable that she didn't have to wait till I'm not home for her to use that. So I asked her, does she know she can go in there to take a shower if she needed to? And she got very offended and defensive.
Why'd she get offended?
Because she thought that I was maybe insinuating that she doesn't take showers.
Does she take showers?
I haven't seen her because she won't come in here if I'm home. So
you think she's going through your stuff while you're not there?
Yes. So that that happened. And so I'm like, well, okay. Isabel's like, I really don't think she's been taking a shower while, at least for the couple of days.
Does she stink?
There was, the reason that the conversation even came up was because there was a smell, but we weren't really sure what it was. So that's why Isabel was like a little concerned. So I wouldn't say stink. I would just say like a little odor.
Did it smell possibly like...
I have some turds in the toilet. They're just floating and stuck.
No, it just smelled like toilet water.
Oh my. You're not talking about the perfume that eau de toilette either, are you?
No. So, okay. So I'm fast forwarding and she's telling me that she takes showers and, she thanks me for letting her know that she should, be comfortable to come in, whatever, to use my restroom. So later on, I'm like, I need to wash towels. I'm like, where are the towels? Do you have any dirty towels in your room? And she says, no, I don't have any. And I'm like, well, where are the towels that you use when you take a shower?
And she's like, I air dry, bitch.
No. She says, I just use the ones that are hanging in your restroom.
Oh, no.
I was like, oh, no. So, okay.
You know what she dried with that?
That could be like hair bumps or boob bumps. I told her I dry my body, my entire body, with that towel. Penocha? Yeah, even that.
Cochina.
And her response to me was, oh, it's okay. I'm not picky. I'm like, she's like, I'm not that type of person.
So did you use it after she used it?
I'm pretty sure there was at least once or twice that happened. But it doesn't stop there because...
Oh, man, that's horrible.
I asked her, well, where are the washcloths that you're using to wash your body? Oh, I'm not using those. I use the soap that's whatever. And it's like a liquid thing. I'm like, no. I'm like, but you're not using anything to scrub your body? She's like, yeah. I'm just using one of those sponges that are in the bathroom, those bath puffs.
The little scrunchy, puffy thingies?
Yeah. I
The
said,
that
which one are
probably
you
belongs to
using?
you.
She's like, I don't know, just one of them. Because there's 5 of them in there.
Oh, no.
I went and I just threw everything away. No, I'm joking. I didn't do that. I tried to explain very calmly and nicely and respectfully, don't you ever do that shit again. I was like, no, don't do that. It really hurt my feelings. Because
I'm so sorry, because
what would you do?
I'd have burned it all. Just thrown it all in a fire. Might have thrown myself in there.
So we've been on the show for about, 15 minutes?
If that, I don't know.
If that, okay. But since we were supposed to start since 8 o'clock, I've heard her in the new restroom. I have no idea what she's doing. I wanted to walk in there, but I'm afraid if I do and I say something, she might get upset. And
you might walk in there and she's like, just...
You could walk around naked and you don't care who sees you. That's exactly that's what I'm afraid of.
Or you might walk in there and she's like, never mind. I'm playing these too much already. No, you know what? I'm going to do one more. You might walk in there and she's all like...
No, her feet are too stiff.
Damn, that's cold-blooded.
No, she says that. Her feet are too hard. Like, she can't move them to dance. Right? That's what you were insinuating with that.
Yes, I was insinuating she was doing the Mexican hat dance. That's why I played the song. Because she's Mexican. Just like us. Only she might be more Mexican. She's actually from Mexico.
She is a little bit more Mexican. But it's okay. She
Well,
should be leaving in about 2 weeks.
not to the president, but to us it is. We're family.
No shit. It's awful.
You might take her to the border and then they'll separate you from her. That's not a laughing matter because that's something.
No, it's not. I'm only laughing because me and my, like separating me and my mother-in-law. That's funny.
So heartless.
No, I'm not. It's just difficult to have another person. Like, I'm so used to doing everything my way, which I'm finding out that I really don't have a way.
You mean it's difficult to be an adult and have to have roommates?
Yes.
Huh.
No.
I wonder what that's like.
That's different for you. But when you ask someone not to do something and it seems like deliberately go out of their way to do it anyway. And you're like, didn't I tell you not to do that?
I wonder what that's like when you ask somebody to meet you at 8 for recording and then 46 minutes later they show up to start recording and then they ask you, where are you? I wonder what that's like.
But there's a difference because we don't live together.
Thank
Because I
goodness, 'cause
told
if we
you my
did,
stomach hurt.
why did your stomach hurt?
Because I took a laxative. Because I've been having issues, okay?
Oh my god, this sounds like the early episodes.
I know. But it's not as intense or severe as before, so...
This was not an invitation to go down this path, by the way.
No, we'll just let it go down this... We'll just flush this one out.
Yes. Flush this number 2. Hey, speaking of number 2, see that segue? See what I did
Oh,
there?
I know. I've caught it twice.
Speaking of number 2, weren't you wearing your number 2 podcast shirt out in public one day?
Yeah. And
Advertising the show, trying to get rally up some support from the fans,
Yes.
get new listeners.
Yeah, I was doing like a public, what is that? Signing? No. You know where people and businesses go out and they set up a table, they're like
A
advertising.
public appearance,
There you go. That's what I was doing.
signing autographs,
Yeah, but
giving out headshots,
yeah,
taking
but
selfies.
I should have done that. Oh my gosh.
Because why didn't you? It would have been perfect for Instagram.
Because I
Twitter,
don't think that way.
Facebook.
I'm not good with my camera. You know that.
Well, the way you get better at something is by practice. How do you get to Carnegie Hall?
Practice.
Practice, practice, practice. That's the old saying. And then there's a comedian named Dimitri Martin. He's like, I want to get a place right next to Carnegie Hall. So when people ask me how do I get to your place, I say practice, 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 and then take a left. Dimitri Martin. That guy's hilarious.
I think the only way I could start practicing is if I start taking selfies, and I can't do that. I tried. Like,
You won't do that.
anyway, so I'm doing this public appearance for the N2P podcast.
By public appearance, I think you meant you went grocery shopping, right?
Yes. I needed groceries. And I had my N2P podcast shirt on. And the bagger, real nice guy, great guy. Don't know his last name, but his name is Caleb. We're going to give a shout out to Caleb here.
Shout out to Caleb, man. Thanks for recognizing N2P podcast. Well, you did recognize. Go ahead. You tell the story. I'm ruining it.
So Caleb read my shirt.
Shout out, Caleb.
And he was like, so the N2P podcast is like the N2P podcast of the nation or in the nation. I'm like, and there was a little speech impediment, I think. I couldn't really understand. I don't know if it's because it was loud in the grocery store or you know what, but I'm getting older age. I'm hard of hearing. So I was like, excuse me? And he said,
You're like, excuse me?
he's like, is that the N2P podcast in the nation? And I was like, oh, of course not, you silly boy.
Silly goose.
I said, no. I said, the name is the N2P podcast. I said, but I hear it's a really funny show.
Your picture is on that shirt. How did you hear it's a really funny show? Why couldn't you just be like, yes, it's hilarious. It's not the N2P podcast in the nation yet, but one day.
He caught me off guard. My daughter Priscilla, okay, she was with me. She's not here right now, but she could tell you. I turned red. I was getting all cheesy. I could not wait to get out of that store so I could call you and tell you.
Because you're starting to have a brush with internet fame. Almost. He didn't recognize you from the internet, but the shirt is that ugly podcast shirt is a conversation starter.
Well, I was thinking back. We went to one of Luis's his little cousin's birthday party, and I had worn it that day too. I wear it a lot. If you don't know that, I just want you to know. And I could tell that one of his older cousins, like, I don't know, I could tell like it got her attention because I felt like she did a double take and didn't make eye contact with me, but with my shirt. I was like, oh, it works.
This ugly design is effective somehow.
No, but people, I was so surprised that Caleb acknowledged
Caleb.
it, you know, and he was like, is that the N2P podcast in the nation?
That's not even the N2P podcast on my list of podcasts that I listen to.
We're just so sad.
I would put, let's see, before that, I would put our friends, and I say our friends, our internet friends, A Little Moss, and From the Bronx with Love. I definitely would put them ahead of ours. They seem to have their act together. They put together a really good podcast. So also I listened to 30 2010, which is a pop culture podcast. Oh, I actually love this one. I listen to a lot of pop culture stuff. But seriously, Little Moss from the Bronx with Love. If you haven't listened to them, check them out. They're great. They have great shows. Really entertaining. Well thought out. Not like this one. Cousin, I didn't hear you. Is your microphone okay? Oh my goodness. It's not working. Hey, sorry about that. We had some technical difficulties. We're back. Okay, so you were telling us about Caleb. Shout out Caleb.
That's right. Caleb recognized the number 2 podcast in my public appearance.
And I was saying much better shows to listen to would be a Little Mouse podcast from the Bronx with Love. They have great shows. Go listen to them. If you're making a list, we should at the very best be number 3 podcast after a Little Mouse and from the Bronx with Love.
I agree. But eventually we're going to be the number 1 podcast in the nation.
Hey, cuz I'm just shooting for number 2.
I'll take number 2 too. 2.
Number 2.
But I enjoy reading the comments or when we get shout outs or those things. Didn't you?
Oh, yeah. You're right. Yes, we did. We got a shout out from Podcast in Color. I think it's one person, but it might be an organization that is trying to promote podcasts recorded and produced by people of color, like you and I. You're a little bit light brown. I might be like a medium tannish brownish. We're Mexicans. I mean, if you haven't figured that out.
But I remember people like my sisters
into your microphone,
growing up.
cuz into your microphone.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was confused. I thought it was in my phone. That I was like yellowish, like palish, yellowish.
Well, I say brown to indicate that we're Mexicans. I'm not talking about our actual skin color, although I'm like a brownish red.
Okay, you look like an angel right now.
I look like a what?
You're an angel. Your face doesn't.
I'm a brownish red angel, but with this burlap over the window, it's creating kind of a yellow glow on my face. But anyway, Podcast
Totally
in
angel.
Color. They are Podcast in Color on Twitter. They recognize our podcast, which was really exciting. And I will quote the podcast. Excuse me, I will quote the tweet. I decided to press play on at N2Pod, which is our name on Twitter. Check us out at N2Pod. It says, I decided to press play on at N2Pod. Like this episode. Love when I can tell people edit. Feels like you care about my time. Thanks. Hashtag poddin'. And then he put a link to our podcast in his tweet.
I feel so famous.
And on top of that, he tweeted, these episode show notes are hilarious at N2Pod. And he had a link to the show notes from this. We're recording, kind of batch recording to help with our busy schedules. So this was from a couple of weeks ago, if you're listening to it now. I retweeted it, so check us out at N2Pod. And also check out Podcasts in Color, because they're, like I said, they're trying to shine a light on some different podcasts produced by people of color. But yeah, that was super exciting. I got really excited when I saw that. Anything to help grow the popularity of the show, expose us to a new and growing audience who might not be offended by the things we say about our family, our friends.
Yeah, so our family shouldn't listen.
Our co-workers. Well, I don't think any of our family's on Twitter.
I don't know.
Well, maybe your kids. Your kids, the younger people, but...
Yeah, they actually, I know it wasn't Twitter, it was on Instagram. When Luis wore the N2 podcast shirt that I'd gotten him, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so happy.
Yeah, that was posted for Father's Day.
Yeah, it was a great day.
It's not as good as Mother's Day.
Absolutely
Speaking
not.
of, and I might get in trouble for this, but I love you, Mom.
Dun, 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 dun.
I got a phone call. I forgot to tell you about this. I got a phone call on Father's Day from my mother.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
How did that go?
Oh, swimmingly. She called me up and she said, "This is the first Father's Day you didn't call me."
I'm waiting for it.
I was waiting for your response to that. So my response was, "No, it's not."
I never call you on Father's Day.
I mean, I used to.
So-
There were times in the past I did, but I decided to put a stop to it. But she said,
Yeah.
"You always call me on Father's Day to wish me a happy Father's Day."
Oh,
And I said,
because
"But you're not my father." She said, "Yes, I am. I'm your mother and your father." And I said,
you're
"But
not.
I can't even throw a football." You know what her response was?
That's not my fault.
She said, "I can." "It's not my fault you didn't learn."
Yeah.
I said, "Well, I mean, maybe you taught me how to throw a football, but I never got chosen for the team because they said I threw like a girl." And I said, "Well, my mom taught me. What do you expect?"
I have a feeling that my little Mijo's gonna. Some of those things are gonna affect him.
Oh, it's okay. He's a nerd. He'll be fine.
Yeah, we actually hung out with your brother on Father's Day.
Well, I didn't want to get into a
And,
full Father's Day conversation. I wanted your response to, what do you think? Should I call my mom on Father's Day to wish her happy Father's Day? Or should I stand my ground and just be like, "You're my mother. I know you raised me by yourself, but you're my mother. I call you on Mother's
Yeah,
Day."
I think you should. I mean, no, with all due respect and no offense, to Aunt Becky, I think you should stand your ground.
I
mean-
love my mother and I appreciate all that she's done
Oh.
for me. But, I mean, a father does what a father does and a mother does what a mother does.
Yeah, and they really.
I don't know how to pick up a woman. I stumble into relationships. I've never really
Yeah.
just swept a woman off her feet. Mom, you didn't teach me how to sweep a woman off her feet. You taught me how to sweep the kitchen. And I'm not good at that either. Probably because I didn't want to learn.
So, like, not. I mean, yeah, I mean, like, a father figure is needed. As you grow older, you
I
recognize
had father
that.
figures. My grandpa was a father figure for a bit. My Uncle Bones was a big influence on me. He was a bit of a father figure as well. Even my brother at times was a father figure. He took what?
But those don't count because neither of them showed you how to pick up women
Well, I mean, I learned how not to pick up women from them.
or to throw a football.
Yeah, I guess my brother could have taught me how to throw a football, but he was too busy playing basketball and football and not wanting to be around me as a kid because he had his own friends and he was doing his own thing.
Yeah, and Uncle Bones, he was. I mean,
He
I don't
was
know about
married
him.
5
'Cause
times, so I was like, I don't know if this is the way I
That's
want
what
to
I was
live.
thinking.
And no offense, I mean, he has great kids from it, our cousins. I love y'all very much. But yeah, I saw the relationships he had gotten himself into, and that's not the relationships I wanted for myself.
Yeah. So yeah, this has gone dark again.
Real dark. How to be a man. I don't know. It reminds me of, you ever see that movie Fight Club
Probably.
with Brad
I just
Pitt
don't know.
and Edward Norton? First
Because
rule
the
of
only
Fight
name
Club
I know is.
you do not talk about Fight Club. You don't know that?
Mm-mm.
Oh.
I have to see a clip of it to say, oh yeah, I do remember that, or no, I haven't seen it. Because I'm horrible with names. I do remember Caleb from the grocery store.
Shout
because
out
he
to
thought we were But yeah, anyway, so the Fight Club.
Oh, there was a line that said, "We're a generation of men raised by women." And I'm just curious, like what. I mean, we're finding out now what that's like because there are a lot of
Yeah.
single parent families, single mothers raising children, raising boys to be men, and how does that affect it when you don't have a positive male role model to kind of pattern yourself after?
Yeah, I see that, and I think I've shared that with you or on the podcast. Like Luis's dad passed away when he was like really young, and his mom, she went to work and like she provided for them. You know, she did what she had to do, but she wasn't there because she worked so much, like day to night, get home very, very late. But she always made sure that they had what they needed. Probably more than what they were very blessed and fortunate. But in his
so
older age,
I mean, just if we're comparing mothers, mine was better.
Okay. But in his older age,
and no offense to La Senora, but my mom is better.
Yeah. Go Aunt Becky. We're team Aunt Becky. No. But he's 41. And you're 40, right?
I'm 40, yes.
So I don't know if it's something with the time of and that you are in your life or that he is, but he has actually, I don't want to say had a breakdown, but he shared with me some very personal feelings. And he even said he didn't know why, but he needed a dad. And I have heard him say, he said it and his sister said it, that was something that they realize now that they really needed. And I don't mind telling this, but Luis does not know how to be he knows how to be a father or a dad just to a certain extent. But he really doesn't know how to communicate or like I was saying, like have somebody show my son or even my daughters, like throw the football or pick up the hammer and hammer a nail.
Cousin.
I do most of that stuff.
Cousin, maybe psychology is cut out for you because I think I just had a breakthrough.
Did you?
I think so. From you saying that, he knows how to be a father to a certain extent. Maybe this is why I'm so guarded against being in a deeper relationship, a deeper, more committed relationship, because I've been afraid to be a father for a long time because I didn't want to end up being a father like mine who has a kid and then disappears. But maybe the reason why I'm not good in relationships or even starting them or being in them is because, one, my fear of being a father, but my fear of being a father because I don't know how to be a father.
And how does that make you feel?
Makes me feel scared.
Because I'm telling you, I'm going to try to quote this. If we focus on our weaknesses, the best we'll ever do is avoid failure. I don't think that was right. Where's my paper?
Yeah, well, while you look for your paper,
it's something like that. Our fair. Let me just stop.
No. Look for that paper while I pontificate about this breakthrough that I just had. So, if I can just quote unquote man up and not be afraid of being a father, if it comes to the point where I become a father, if I either make that choice or make the choice that leads to that mistakenly, if you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, the responsible adult thing to do is to be there for the child, which is something I would do, but I'm trying to avoid creating that child out of fear. I thought my fear was just of being a father because it comes with a bunch of responsibilities. But I think the fear I have is because I don't know how to handle those responsibilities because there wasn't a man in my life to show me how it was done. there was a woman in my life, so I have, much respect for women and women who become mothers and women who want to be mothers, because I see how difficult it can be. I've seen it with my own eyes. I see the troubles that my mother went through to support the two of us, my brother and me. And I know that can be done. I've met women who I've thought they probably shouldn't be a mother. They're not qualified. But I know these qualifications because I've seen it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know really if I can tell a guy if he's qualified to be a father or not. I mean, other than from somebody who's obviously irresponsible and whatnot. Whew, breakthrough.
Well, and I realized that my notes that I had taken that I wanted to quote are at work. I went to 2 different classes and they actually kind of contradict each other, but you have to find a balance. One is the listening with empathy, and you focus on your weaknesses to be able to, like, I don't know. The other one was, anyway, just cut that part out. But what you're saying is, and if you think about this, your mom worked really hard, kind of like my mother-in-law, but your mom was better. So
totally 100% for the record, just so that's known.
And stop and think about what you do.
What do you mean? What do I do?
You work really hard, and you spend and dedicate a lot of your time working.
I do. My career is very important to me. I've had a career change in, I don't want to say midlife because I hope I live longer than that, but I had a career change late in life, and I am working really hard to build that career to where I want it to be.
Right, but you've always worked hard. Right now, your focus is on your career, the career that you actually, the passion that you have. That's where that career is, right?
Yes.
But even before you had that career change, focus, whatever you want to call it, you worked very hard, even from the get-go.
And it was probably
School
an
and
excuse
work.
because of the fears that I had.
Possibly, but I know that sometimes when it's all perception of what the message that's being perceived from our podcast may come off different than what we actually are trying to say.
Are you saying you don't want to make anybody mad?
And I love my family and friends.
I do too.
It's just, I think it's good talk, and it's good to be able, I think I've said this before, like, I know, and I think I've seen it with your mom and my mom. For sure, my mom, I'm not going to speak on behalf of your mom, but my mom's mindset and her way of thinking 15 or 20 years ago is completely different now. You know,
well, and we evolve as people. I mean, we learn and grow. Hopefully, I mean, that's that's true, and that applies to not just them as parents, as our mothers, but it applies to us too. And it doesn't mean that we take away from anything and the sacrifices that they did and made for us. It's just that we have that same ability and that same right to grow and think about different things. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, you realize, you start to see life from a different perspective. And you're realizing now that it may have been nice to have a father. Oh yeah.
Not
I mean,
nice.
maybe not the father that sired me. Hate to get old school biblical on you. I just couldn't find the right words. Maybe not my biological father. I don't know him. Mm-hmm. He might have evolved to be a really good guy. He might have been a good guy back then, just not the right person to be in our lives. But
right,
yeah,
I agree with that too.
It would have been great to have the traditional nuclear family: a mother, father, child, a dog. We had the dog. We had several dogs. They died. May they rest in peace. I miss you, Angel. She got stolen from us.
She may be. Hopefully, she made a family very, very happy.
She did, and then she got stolen from that family.
I don't know. It is crazy. I don't know. I think we find ourselves.
I think
in
there's a
fear.
reason why it takes two people to make a child, because it's intended to have that many people to raise a child. And again, I'm not taking anything away from my mother. I think she did a great job raising both of us.
I think my mother-in-law did a great job too, and my mom.
And I think Luis is a great guy. Yeah, and your mom too. But my mom the most, because my brother turned out to be a good guy. He's a great father. He is a good husband. He's a great husband. I don't want to lower the adjective on it. He's a great father, great husband. I think I turned out pretty well. Maybe not the most well-adjusted, as you can see by my breakthrough I just had. I'm definitely in my mind.
That's what psychology's for.
Yeah, and you're practicing without a license. No, so I guess what I'm trying to say is, thanks, Mom. Happy Father's Day, belated.
Yes, happy Father's Day to all those.
Thanks, Mom, for teaching me to throw like a girl.
Stop. Your mom, Aunt Becky, he is just messing with you.
I love you, Mom. Thank you for everything. Don't you love your mother?
Yes, but we're not talking about my mom.
Well, your mother was your father. Oh, no, you had your father, sort of.
Yeah, I had my father up until I can't remember. I think it's 10, somewhere around that age.
We talked about this before Father's Day. I don't want to read it.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean.
So, more importantly, when is he going to be on the show so I can talk about when he put cake icing all over my glasses and I can confront him? Actually, you know what? Wait till I'm in town. I want to confront him in person. You know why? Because my mother taught me how to be a man like that. I'm serious. I learned how not to back down from my mom. So thank you for that, Mom. Even though I hate confrontations, that's just my personality type. But if I have to, I will stand my ground.
You stand it.
So, Mom, I love you. Happy Mother's Day. For Mother's Day, I'm not going to call you on Father's Day to wish you Happy Father's Day. If you call me, I'll be happy to talk to you. But I'm sorry, Mom. Please forgive me. All right. I think I don't know how long we've gone. We've had technical difficulties. The time on this is way off. Who knows? Hope you enjoyed the show. Cuz, any last words?
None?
Okay, great.
Yeah, none. Just
do unto others before they do unto you. How about that?
Oh, what about honor thy mother and thy father?
Well, I've been able to do half of that. I hope.
Oh my God.
You're horrible.
I think we need.
You're a horrible human being. What is wrong with you? You should apologize to your mother-in-law. She's done a great job raising Louise.
She has.
And giving
she
little
realizes
Louise excellent
that too.
advice, like men don't cry.
Be a man, damn it.
All right. If you enjoyed this show, please let us know. Give us a review on iTunes, Google, wherever you hear your podcast, Overcast. Be sure and give a shout out to Podcast in Color on Twitter. And if you want on Twitter and you want to give us a shout out, we're at Num2Pod. That's NUMTWOPOD. We're also at Num2Pod on Instagram, Num2Pod on Facebook. And if you want to give us an old school email, send that email to num2pod@gmail.com. And don't forget, check out campfirepod.com/merch to pick up a cool t-shirt that we design and we sell through Amazon. And when it takes you to Amazon, go ahead, shop around, man. We might make a small commission on anything else. Mr. Mumbles is here. We might make a small commission on anything else you buy at no extra charge to you. And it's a great way to support the show, right, cuz?
Absolutely. Support our show.
Please support our show so I don't have to beg you for money or anything like that, because it's not what I do. I have a day job for my bills, but I'd
I
like
hate
to...
sales too.
What?
No, carry on. I was just being backup.
Oh, you're backing me up by distracting me? I have a day job that pays my bills, but I'd like to gain some popularity for the number 2 podcast by selling t-shirts and making commissions from Amazon.com. But that's okay if you don't, 'cause if you listen, that's support for our show. Send us an email saying so and hit us up on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook. Not really, I don't like Facebook that much, but Instagram and Twitter are my main jams. Occasionally I'm on Snapchat, but the show is not, so don't look for us there, 'cause we don't have a digital presence on that social media platform. Cousin, help me out, 'cause I don't know what I'm singing about.
I think you
right
just
now.
need to
Just
stop.
keep living life to the fullest.
Just stop.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.